going.
Start streaming now, and I'm going to talk, and you should talk so I can make sure that we're both being recorded.
Talk? You
Yep,
want me to talk?
I do want you to talk.
You want me to speak in the
Okay.
English?
Yep, we're good. It is successful. All right, so we read Howard the Duck, number 3.
Right.
Four Feathers of Death.
Yep.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I had to look this up. Before we start, so the Four Feathers of Death is a play on Five Fingers of Death, also known as King Boxer from 1972, and Enter the what's it called?
The Duck.
Yeah, there's in the 1970s there was a movie called Enter the Dragon in 1973. So they're kind of playing on those two things.
Can you put
I had to look up which ones they were.
Can you put your headset on? Because I'm getting like feedback or something.
Okay. Where are you getting feedback from?
I don't know. It's like sounding like digitally feedbacky.
No problem.
So this was very popular and like because this I think this was written in 1976, but
right.
I don't know how long movies stayed out back then. How long were movies in theaters for?
Can you hear me? It depends on.
Back in the 70s, if you were going to see a movie, you had to go to the theater to see it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how long they stayed in theaters for. Like, would a movie be running for like a year in the theater,
or? It could. They had second-run theaters and they had drive-in theaters. So your first-run theaters would have been like Regal Cinemas, and we don't have a second-run theater here. And they don't do the second runs anymore. But that would be like the dollar movie theaters would have been what you call second run.
Yeah.
So a popular movie would stay in the movie theaters for a long time, like Star Wars stayed out in the movie theaters for a very long time. I don't remember how long, but it was in like almost, I was going to say a year. But it was out a long time. So the movie was making money, they would run it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you're going to see a movie, you had to go to the movie theater. We didn't have streaming. It would go to television, but it wouldn't go to television until it had been out for a while. Like I watched Sound of Music was on television, but that came out in the early 64 or something like that, and or 66, and I watched it on television in the 70s. So all of these movies, these would have come out, been in the theater. Probably more so in the big cities than in the small towns.
Yeah.
The Japanese movies, the kung fu movies, they would have been in the smaller second run theaters in like New York and all LA. You would have been able to see them there. I don't think we would have I don't remember ever seeing them. I mean, I knew that they existed, but I don't remember ever seeing them in the movie theaters when I was a teenager. They would have then come also on TV on the independent stations. So this is before HBO and Cinemax. they would have come on the independent station, which was not CBS, NBC, ABC, or PBS. We only had 5 stations.
I didn't
They
have cable until I was in like high school, so I also know what having like only 5 stations is like.
yeah.
Like we were
So
behind the times, so yeah.
well, and we didn't have a cable option until like 1970, and HBO was not an option. I don't remember what year, 78 or something it started. So no, HBO started in 79 or 80. I don't remember.
So this one, we start with. I just want to say first of all that what's her name? Is her name Beverly?
Yeah,
Something like
Beverly.
that. Beverly. She's like fully dressed in this episode, so A plus. She stays fully dressed. So
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
They are walking out of a movie theater. They have just seen a kung fu movie, and Howard the Duck is pissed off that they have entertainment about violence, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Violence.
Yeah, and like all of the people walking out of the movies are, I guess, probably young people, and they're like pretend fighting with each other. I think Howard the Duck says some not politically correct statements. And he's just angry at them for acting like children. They go to a diner, I guess.
Yeah, well, before he goes, that says where he says, "And you're the poor man's Sonny Chiba."
Yeah.
So what else is new? Okay, that Sonny Chiba was the first Japanese actor, martial artist actor who acted in films and did these martial art films, the kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I looked him up.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
who the
I had
heck
no idea who that was.
I had no
either.
idea. I'm like, who's Sonny Chiba? I had to look him up. But he's like, he'd be like, he's kind of like Bruce Lee, but Japanese instead of Chinese.
Okay, I had no idea. So they go into the diner, and some guy comes flying through the window. So like this escalated quickly. Yep. I guess some kid pissed off this other dude that was on the sidewalk, who calls himself Count Macho, who I guess just like wanders the streets on Saturday night looking for kids to beat up. It's just real weird.
Because he's Macho Man.
Yeah.
With blue hair.
He attacks the kid, and Howard the Duck's like, dude, chill out. Like, what the hell? And instead he just knocks Howard the Duck out. And it leads to like a complete diner brawl with everybody getting involved. It's just so ridiculous. I mean, it's not ridiculous. I believe that this would happen. It's just like, come on. Somebody random pulls out a knife and stabs a kid, and that's when it ends. The fight ends. Everybody runs away. Howard the Duck is like, hey guys, you shouldn't leave since some kid's bleeding out on the floor here. And they're like, oh no, we're out of here. Beverly, thank goodness. I mean, I'm really liking Beverly. She calls 911. Thank you. Everybody else is just standing around, but she's like, hey, I should probably call 911 and the police and stuff.
By the way, it wasn't 911 in the 70s.
Oh, what was it?
You called the operator.
Oh, okay. She called the operator.
Yeah.
She picked up a phone. She picked up a payphone.
Payphone. It was a payphone,
too. So she called him. She couldn't find Howard, but Howard pops back up. And she's like, I took a lifeguard first aid class. I can help this guy bleeding out from a stab wound on the ground. But there's like a crowd of people around him. So Howard's like, let me through. We have a nurse who's had one first aid lifeguard training. So she probably only really knows how to rescue a drowning person, but okay. The cops get there quick, and they get him taken off to a hospital. And
Hopefully
hopefully he survives. Howard the Duck is like, okay, I'm all right. So let's start out. This thing started with Howard saying that the violent entertainment is wrong. That
right.
they were all idiots for fighting. And now, after a guy has been stabbed and is possibly bleeding to death, he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go learn martial arts. So I can beat that guy up. So he walks down the sidewalk and finds a comic book shop that's selling martial art comics, which he's also upset about. But he finds an ad for learning the secrets of Kung Fu Revealed.
In Cleveland. Just a couple blocks away.
On a Saturday night.
Yeah.
So he goes down. He magically appears in front of the shop, even though he thinks he didn't go far enough or that he was in the same area. So something's going on mystically. And this dude's like, yeah, I can train you free of charge. While this is happening, Beverly, who he's left in the dust, is like, oh, you know, that was sad. Oh, she went to the hospital. She went to the hospital with the guy, even though she couldn't help him or anything. And the guy died. The little kid died. And so
sad.
She's walking home, lost in thought, and gets jumped by the gang of the Macho guy.
Rice. Right.
Because they're out, whatever. Because they're out to get her, or Howard the Duck, which they just met.
It was a pretty violent time anyway.
Yeah. I mean, she could have been kidnapped by anybody. So meanwhile, Howard the Duck is going through a montage of Kung Fu training in a short period of time. And the first lesson is you want to be the butterfly and not the caterpillar, because the butterfly is one step closer to the path of eternal life. So I'm assuming this is reincarnation.
Yes.
Okay. And
actually not reincarnation, but enlightenment.
Oh. So being a dead butterfly is more enlightened than being a live caterpillar.
That's right. You're closer to being the step of enlightenment, and it's reaching eternal life. Actually, well, the caterpillar is two metamorphoses behind the butterfly. So the key word there is metamorphosis. It's not death, it's changing.
So death is not the end of life for something.
Right. It's the changing part.
I feel like this is really deep for a Saturday night movie for Howard the Duck. How he started out. So in a short period of time, he learns all of the martial arts, and the guy is like, so you're done. We had a 3-hour training session, and you are now some kind of master of the martial arts. Howard the Duck shows him the medallion that he stole off the guy while he was getting beat up by him. And he's like, oh, that's probably one of my students, because you can buy that thing for $5 for completing the course or something. Just random weirdness. And Howard the Duck magically gets I don't know what you call it, a martial arts uniform, the little jacket that you tie.
Yep.
With a cord.
He gets a gi. He gets his own gi.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
spelled GI.
And he's got a blue belt. I don't know if that matters. I don't think that's one of the belt colors. Or maybe it is. I don't know anything about martial arts whatsoever.
It is a belt color, but it's usually black as
The master level.
the master level, not blue. But that's okay.
So he magically appears back on the street where he started, like in front of the comic book store or something.
Yeah, now see. Yeah, he's magically back in front of the comic book store. And it's only a few hours have passed.
Yeah. So he,
For some reason, I took this to mean like that he had.
like, no hours had passed? Or...
Well, no, like that it was a time warp kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, he mentioned it was like a time warp, like,
the
the irrelevance of chronological time to the enlightenment of man or foul. Your will to achieve has enabled you to complete a lifetime of study in a mere 3 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it somehow all got compressed in 3 hours
Yeah.
and 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, this is comic book land, so
Yeah.
anything can happen.
I'm more willing to accept this. I feel like this is not a plot hole versus like the last issue that had a million plot holes that I could not accept. I can accept this one. It's like, okay, that's fine. So he heads home and a guy has stabbed a note through his door. And he's like, he couldn't use tape. Like, yeah.
No, we gotta stab it into the door.
Gotta stab it into the door. And for some reason, the Macho Man is like vague in his note. He signs it "Guess Who," which is really weird. And so the whatever I'm calling him Macho Man, whatever his name is,
Count Macho.
Count Macho, now has Beverly strung up on a barge, or no, a building. Is it? I thought it was a barge.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was at the water, but maybe that just looks like a building now to me.
Yeah, but she's still hanging from a hook.
Yeah. So she's hanging.
That
from,
can't be comfortable.
Yeah, a hook over an abyss. And the macho guy has some anger issues that he needs to be working out in therapy.
That's right.
And Howard the Duck shows up, and it pretty much like kicks all of their butts, skillfully, in a large scene of people flying and lots of words.
Yeah.
What are those words called? Yeah, the sound words.
Homophones.
I don't think it's homophones.
No.
Is it onomatopoeia? Is that the one for?
Maybe.
Whatever.
I can't remember.
Sound words. I'll just call them sound words.
Sound words.
Um,
Words that sound like
noises.
they're spelling. Yeah.
Like a bark for a dog. Something like that.
Honk, donk, pronk.
So Count Macho is super angry that he just beat the crap out of all of his little guys and attacks him, but Howard also, or he almost like kicks Howard off the side of the building. He plunges toward what should be certain doom, but he does not die. Pain is a condition of the mind, according to the master. It can be overcome by concentration if needed. I feel like hanging off the side of the building, like, he didn't really avoid death. Like, I mean, if he fell off the building, that would have sucked, but he didn't fall off the building, so...
He's still hanging on by his fingernails.
Yeah, he's fine. I feel like he's just being overly dramatic. So he hops back on the building and gets back in a fight with the Count Macho dude has his shirt been open this whole time? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Count Macho's shirt has been open this whole time.
That one scene in the bottom left corner, he's got a very hairy chest, and it's just like almost the whole...
Where did that come from?
Yeah. He throws a knife at Howard the Duck, who stops it with his hands. Amazing.
Before it goes into his nose.
Yeah. And he gets the guy runs at him and he like moves and flies off the building. He tries to grab onto Beverly's foot but loses his grip and falls to his death. See, now if he survived that, then I'd be like impressed. I mean, Howard was just hanging off the building. Whatever. Just climb back up. And so at the end, Howard the Duck says he got it. He died a caterpillar, but the kid died a butterfly. Aww.
Right.
And Howard solved violence with violence. And I feel like that's not what the moral of the story at the beginning of the comic was. So.
Yeah, well, guys wrote this.
Yeah, I know. It was also like comic book people calling out comic book readers for reading violent stuff. It's like, dude, this is your audience. I don't think they're going to get this point. They're reading this because they like the violence.
Well, and it was one of, the people who think that the solution to peace is to build a bigger weapon.
Yes.
It's like, no. Bigger weapons just mean more suffering.
More violence. Yep.
More violence. Bigger violence. Bigger weapons begets bigger violence.
I did like how this comic was like a small scale. It was about one dude in a neighborhood being a dick.
And we're going to go get the one dude and
settle it. It wasn't like
right.
world ending, universe ending. Like, so I liked the small size. Like, you can have a good story that has like a small repercussions that like the only repercussions was that one kid died, which sucks, but like it wasn't a whole planet dying or anything like that.
Right.
So I liked it because it was small, because I saw Eternals this week and I was not happy.
Oh.
I won't talk about it, but I didn't like it.
You saw Eternals, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend paying movie theater money to see it.
Okay,
Just wait till it comes out on
Disney Plus.
Yep.
Okay. I haven't watched Black Widow yet either.
That one, I mean, that one's on Disney Plus, and that one wasn't great either.
What I have been watching lately is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's on Netflix.
And?
That's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen it?
I've seen a few of the episodes. It was okay. I didn't get into it a lot. I maybe watched 3 episodes. Technically, it's not Marvel Cinematic Universe canon, but now with the multiverse, it probably is. So, like, I need to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I've just gotten really into it because I'm in the 2nd season now.
Oh, that's good.
But it gets better as time goes on. But Agent Coulson
is alive
and has a S.H.I.E.L.D. team, and it just goes on and it gets better, and it's yeah.
I'll have to go watch it. I've been rewatching all of the Marvel movies, and I'm up to Iron Man 3. Which I've kind of already forgotten Iron Man 2. And Iron Man 3 is not really that good either. So I'm just trying to get prepared for December for Spider-Man No Way Home. So that is all I care about. And Tobey Maguire better be in it. Or else. I will not be happy.
Else. Somebody's not going to be happy.
All right. So next week, do we want to read another Howard the Duck? Or what do we want to do?
We've only read 3 Howard the Ducks.
Yeah. You want to read another one? The next one's called The Sixth Sleeper. Dun, dun, dun.
So we've been reading like about 4 of them.
Okay, so we'll read Howard the Duck again next week.
I think 4 is a good sample of
Okay,
the different stories.
that works. All right, I'm going to stop streaming now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.